Welcome to the show.
Dude, thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome. Yeah.
Is this a first? Have you ever heard other Christmas music like this?
This is probably the most monumental thing that has ever happened in Canadian. No, let's just say history period. Yeah. It was so much fun to make this album. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
Never has popular Christmas songs ever been like with Punjabi music, lyrics, and even the genres to match each specific song, which yeah, it was just a lot of fun to make.
I understand you recorded it a couple of years ago, but you just performed it live.
Yeah, so we
Recently.
recorded it. Half recorded it a couple years ago, and then we did the other half last year. Then we compiled a full album, and then this year we did a live show.
What was that like?
Oh, it was unreal. It was easily the most stressful, but like the most awesome thing that I've probably done in a while. Yeah.
Tell me about the audience and what that experience was like. What was the reaction like?
The thing was, we said it was going to be a concert, but it was more so a huge musical comedy. So we performed every single song that was on the album, and we had dancers. We had Bhangra dancers, and a lot of them. We had Gidda dancers, which are female dancers. We had live skits. We had video skits, and there's so much just stimulation for all senses that we made sure to kind of come across in the concert. So there's a lot of planning and a lot of work that was put behind it. But we were able to pull it off, and it was unreal. So we did it in Brampton, Ontario. For anybody that's heard, that's far away, and it's not the most loved place in the world, but it's where a lot of the Punjabi community resides, or a lot of the South Asian community resides. And we did it at the Rose Theater, which was cool because the challenge was like, let's try to sell this out and let's make this a good show, and we did it, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah.
What were the holidays like for you growing up?
I actually never celebrated Christmas ever.
So what did December 24th and 25th look like in your household?
I woke up, I went downstairs, my mom made paronte, for those of you guys who know what it is, and we watched TV, and then that's it. And then we got yelled at to clean our room. And then we visited, maybe some relatives came over, and then we went to sleep.
So what was it like then going to school, for example, around Christmas season? What was that like for you?
It was the worst, because I used to go back to school, and all these kids were like, oh my God, check out my Game Boy. And everyone's like, oh my God, check out this thing that I got, Yak Back. Remember those? Kids came back with Yak Backs, and I'm like, what? I don't get it. I don't know, why doesn't Santa Claus come here to me? And then my dad actually told me it's because we didn't have a chimney. And so I believed that for the longest time. And then my other friends were like, dude, we don't have a chimney either. Like, this isn't the Victorian age. Nobody has chimneys anymore. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. That's probably true. And then my dad was like, yeah, he's probably racist. Santa Claus is racist. He doesn't come to Indian people's houses. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, wow. It just changes my whole perception of what they taught us in school. So it was pretty traumatic. Yeah, it was pretty traumatic.
But you've come out of it, and you've made Christmas your own.
Yeah.
So break down what you're parodying with this comedy here. There's a lot of things going on. What are you parodying with this Christmas music?
We literally took a spin on every major popular Christmas song. This album actually came about. We were shopping one time at like Square One Mall. It was me and my friends, Babu as well, who's my brother. Out of the Gita brothers, he's the second brother, and we co-collabed on this album. And we were at the mall, and I remember being on top of the food court area and just looking down at people, and we were just being idiots, and we just started singing really loud, like Christmas carols, but in Punjabi. We were translating them into Punjabi, and it was the funniest thing to us. Like, we were crying and doing it. There's a vlog on my YouTube channel as well, and I'm like looking down. There's like this Asian guy, he's pushing a baby in a stroller, and I looked at him for like 2 minutes straight. It was just singing like Christmas carols. He didn't break eye contact. I didn't break eye contact. It was probably one of the most awkwardly magical things that have ever happened, and it was just so hilarious. So we just started coming up with songs while we were shopping because we were listening to them on the thing. So anytime a song came on the speakers via the radio, because they're always playing Christmas music, we would just take that song and convert it, and it'd just be so funny. And then that's how the album came about. Yeah.
Tell me about your start on the internet as a comedian.
Yeah.
How did you get going?
This was back when I was in university. I think 2010 is when I started. I was in second year, and I was just absolutely bored out of my mind. And my dad wanted me to be a doctor. Typical Indian story. I fit all the stereotypes. Not even gonna lie, I fit all of them. and I it just my heart wasn't in it, and then I switched into something else. But I always wanted to go to film school. It was like something that I always wanted to do. And even when I was younger, I remember being in like French class, and I was like, I want to be an actor, and everyone's like, who's laughing
but YouTube offered you the opportunity to get started. Yeah.
It did, because it cut away the middleman. And for someone like me, who's like an extreme visible minority, it allowed for me to kind of build everything, or build my own content myself, and kind of get it out there to the world without having to go through anybody, and just build my own audience, and kind of just go from there, which is a beautiful thing about the internet, because it just kind of levels the playing field. And yeah,
a lot of South Asian comics don't do the accent very intentionally.
Yeah.
You're comfortable with it. Why is that something you're?
I do the accent, but I don't at the same time. Like, I do the accent when I'm impersonating my dad, which is like, sorry, Dad, if you're listening, but it's just when I'm talking about. Usually, originally I just used to speak Punjabi as my father, but then I realized there was a lot of people that are watching, so I started doing a mix of English and Punjabi. So because it wasn't just South Asians that were watching anymore, so I try to get a good blend out of that. But you got to make sure, if you're an Indian person, make sure your Indian accent is good, because there's nothing worse. The only thing worse about a bad white person's Indian accent is a bad Indian person's Indian accent, because you've had your whole life to prepare for it. You listen to your parents, you had enough time to practice. If you can't get it down, then that's terrible. But I mean, I still strive away from any mainstream roles that are like, can you play an Indian guy? I would rather play like myself, or play a South Asian, someone that lives in a South Asian diaspora. Like,
that's interesting. So when it's your own comedy, you feel comfortable.
When I can curate it myself, because I know I'll do it in a way that's kind of tasteful, and for the most part, I'd assume so. And so I'll do it myself when I'm on that level. But yeah,
it's interesting you bring up the quality of the accent, because also the quality of the music is really interesting. You're really good. Those scales are not easy to master. Tell me about your background in music.
Yeah, I've been trained in Indian classical music ever since I was 5 years old. So me and my brother, our dad put us into Indian classical music, and I've been more so trained in percussion and in tabla. But I always used to sing along with my brother, and he's the one that's been trained in classical rag and things like that. But my ustad, or my teacher, I remember for a whole year straight, he just vocally trained me just in case. He was like, I don't know, you might need it for some.
Well, I feel like it's key to the comedy as well, is to actually nailing the music.
Yeah.
What are your other musical influences?
Man, I mean, hip hop is like a huge influence. I think for a lot of South Asians, hip hop and R&B is a huge influence, because a lot of the beat structure, a lot of the melody structure is so similar to Punjabi music. I think that's why a lot of South Asians kind of they just center around hip hop music, especially when it's the diaspora, because I think it's the most relatable music when it comes to I guess, immigrant families, or whether it be lyrically or whether it be musically, they kind of gravitate around that genre, and yeah, I mean,
the outsider experience, and then also the musical similarities.
Exactly, yeah.
Unfortunately, this is all the time we have. I hope we can have you back sometime.
I would love to
Jasmeet.
come back. Yeah.